Good evening. So, my last video I did about ASPD, and that was like a general, almost introduction video, um, giving just general information about what ASPD is and, just an overall idea of what the disorder is. But for this video, I want to get into the specifics, and I want to talk about why I got diagnosed. So, like, how do I actually fit this disorder diagnostically, and how I was actually diagnosed. So, these are the criteria from the DSM-5, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, 5th edition. So, this is what is used in the United States by the APA as like what they call psychiatric Bible, essentially. Like any mental condition, disorder, this is what they use. Other countries, they may use this, or they may use the ICD-11. But yeah, so first I'm gonna go through the categorical diagnostic criteria. And again, real quick, this means, when I say categorical, there's a certain just list of criteria that you must fit, and it's like you either have it or you don't. But there's also another dimensional model. Dimensional means it's not really is or isn't, it's levels. And in the DSM-5, for personality disorders, they have what's called the alternative model for personality disorders. So it's more like, okay, do you have a personality disorder? How impaired are you? And then it gets into, specific categories. So let's start with the categorical model. Diagnostic criteria: pervasive pattern of disregard for and violation of the rights of others, occurring since age 15, as indicated by 3 or more of the following. So this is saying, basically, you do things that are harmful to other people. Again, that's what antisocial is, like against society, against other people. You do things that are just not socially acceptable because they affect others negatively and you don't care. So you have to have 3 of these criteria. There's 7 of them. First, failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors as indicated by repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest. So I definitely fail to conform to social norms in general. Like, if there's just a certain way that you're supposed to behave given a setting, I see it as like more of a suggestion than anything. Like, and I might appear to conform, make it look like I do, but if it serves my interests, I just won't. Or if I might just not do what I'm supposed to do out of spite just because I feel like it. Like, and it says with respect to lawful behaviors. I'm not gonna get into specifics, but yeah. Deceitfulness, as indicated by repeated lying, use of aliases, or conning others for personal profit or pleasure. Yeah, this is basically like lying, manipulation, subterfuge, just underhanded tactics to get people to do what you want. I can get into this at another time, but I'm what you call Machiavellian. Now, I'm not chronically exploitive, but to be honest, that's not true. To me, I'm not, but like, I'm not just always lying and trying to get stuff out of people, but when I want something, I want something. And if I want it bad enough, whatever I need to get it, whatever I have to say or how I have to act or whatever, I'm doing it. You know, that's how I get down. Next, impulsivity, failure to plan ahead. This is just this is probably like my most obvious criteria that I fit. Like, I just do things. A lot of times I can't even explain past. I just felt like doing it. Like, I get an urge to do something. If the urge is the like I want to do it that bad, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. It's just a lot of times my body just moves. I don't even think. So, like this. Okay, this is bad. I'm not glorifying this. Let's say somebody cuts me off in traffic. I have in the past. I'll like I said in traffic, like on the highway. So someone does some shitty driving to me on the highway. I'll just follow them, and like when I realize what I'm doing, like I'll be like, wait, let me stop. But it's stuff like that. I've fallen out with a lot of friends sometimes, just because I might have just blurted out the wrong thing, like without thinking, or just did something that like I fuck up with a lot of people just because I don't have control over my impulses. Sometimes it's just like that's one thing that everybody who's close to me knows. Like I just go, and it could be things that are harmful. It could be, but you know. If I'm supposed to, it could be as little as I'm supposed to be sitting down. I get the urge to get up, so I'm gonna get up. Moving on, irritability and aggressiveness, as indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults. I was just talking to my man Sheldon about this. I haven't not been irritable or angry or something since 2004. I'm not exaggerating. I get angry every day. My baseline is irritable. Like you say something in the wrong tone, you do something to annoy me, I go from flat to like now I'm gonna say something you don't like. And let me get an example. I used to work in a psychiatric hospital. And there's a situation with a patient. I mean, this patient had a good rapport, you know. He was causing issues. We had to remove him from the unit to another unit. I went to get his stuff for him. So I handed him his belongings, and he said to me and a bunch of my coworkers, like this became damn near a crisis situation. So everybody's there. He looks at us. He says, "Yeah, now you get back on the unit." And I wasn't, I kind of was pissed that he would be presumptuous enough to tell me what to do, especially as a patient. But, I didn't disrespect him in my response. I simply said, we can't leave just because you tell us to leave. Which was a fact. Like, this is, like, in these situations, usually, like, a nurse supervisor is, in charge of what's going on, and once things are diffused, then he'll tell us to go back to where we are. So that's what I was saying to him. He looks at me and says, "Shut the fuck up, you fuck bitch." So when I say, like, I don't know, and people say this, and like it can be corny sometimes, like, yeah, I just blacked out. I didn't really black out, but I for sure had like an experience that was like an out of body experience. It's like everything like got dark around me except him. And just how there's this light right here, it's like there's a spotlight on him. So, and then like all I did, like my body just started moving toward him, and I'm just saying, "I'm a fuck bitch, I'm a fuck," like, and then like I got coworkers holding me back, and one of the one of my coworkers like, "The doctor's right there," like, but I didn't care. Like, I'm just that's how angry I got, and like I immediately like my reaction was to get physical about it. So yeah, irritability and aggressiveness, and I got stories for days. Like we would be here for hours if I gave every example. Reckless disregard for safety of self or others. Yeah, I put myself in bad situations for sure. Like when it comes to like driving, and I'm driving in a, let's say, a state of mind that I shouldn't be operating a vehicle in. I'm doing that. Bro, what the fuck? But yeah, I've been in a lot of like even in that situation I just told you about. That like I put my job at risk. You know, like there's been situations where I was dealing with somebody who potentially could have hurt me, and I just didn't. I didn't care. Like, I didn't give a fuck. Pardon me, because this piece of shit tablet just shut off on me for no reason. But yeah, that's some of the criteria. I don't gotta go through all of them, but just for educational purposes. Oh, here we go. I'm back. So next criteria, consistent irresponsibility as indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work behavior or honor. Now, when it comes to work, I've worked pretty much consistently my whole adult life, but I do shit like this. Ran up a credit card, Capital One. I owed them $6,000. I'm just not paying it. I'm just not gonna pay it. I'm just not gonna. I just decided. Like I was like, I don't got it, and I don't want to. I'm not paying it. And that was it. I'll. There's a time like parking tickets. I used to rack up parking. Well, I still kind of, but I don't have any parking tickets racked up right now. But there at one point, I had like 6 unpaid ones, and they booted my car, and I was like, wait, what the, and then when I see like why I was like, oh, I didn't pay none, because I would get the tickets and I would just be like, yeah, I'll pay that shit whenever, knowing that I wasn't gonna pay it. And yeah, that's the bit like like, and I don't like to owe people money. That's the funny thing. But like certain shit, like I'll get a excise tax bill and I'll be like, shit the fuck out of my face. I just throw it down somewhere, forget about it. But I'm not really like I'm definitely financially irresponsible. But there's other times like I said, I'm very loyal to like a few people, and like I don't want to break my word when it comes to them. But sometimes with others, when I see fit, where I'm like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. They ask me to do something, I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, and I just don't do it. Evidence of conduct disorder with onset before age 15. So basically, it's saying like, has this started since adolescence? Since adolescence, yes, it has. Like the few times I got into trouble in school for like stupid shit. I yeah, again, I was like, I just did a like, I bet I did a bunch of stuff that children shouldn't be doing. Some of it was disturbing. Right? And the current, wait, hold on. Oh, I kind of skipped over. Hold up. Lack of remorse. Yeah, there we go. Lack of remorse. Yeah, this means you don't feel bad. That's it. And that's kind of like what ties all this shit together. Like, you do all this stuff and you don't feel bad. And that's why you're able to do all these things all the time. Because you don't have that connection to, like, okay, this has affected somebody in a way, or I wasn't supposed to do this. Like, that's, you just don't think about it. That's why you go off your impulses. That's why you break all these rules and laws. That's why you lie, cheat, and steal. Do whatever you do, because you're not gonna feel bad about it. Now, that was the categorical model. I'm gonna look at the alternative model real quick. So I'll go through it. Typical features of antisocial personality disorder are a failure to conform to lawful ethical behavior and an egocentric, callous lack of concern for others, accompanied by deceitfulness, irresponsibility, manipulativeness, and/or risk-taking. Characteristic difficulties are apparent in identity, self-direction, empathy, and/or intimacy. As described below, along with specific maladaptive traits in the domains of antagonism and disability. So antagonism is like, the simplest way I could put it, that's like shit like shit that kind of puts you at odds with other people. Disinhibition is like lack of self-control. So that's really what categorizes this shit. Like, you do shit that is not good socially, and you have a lack of control. So yeah, moderate or greater impairment in personality functioning manifested by characteristic difficulties in 2 or more of the following 4 areas. So identity, egocentrism, self-esteem derived from personal gain, power, or pleasure. So that's the identity portion of antisocial personality. Like, your identity being, you just being very self-focused and just focused on what's good for you. And, if it's like you just getting what you want, basically. If it's money, if it's power, it's, sexual intercourse, getting in touch, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Now, 2, self-direction, goal setting based on personal gratification. That's what I was talking about. Absence of pro-social internal standards associated with failure to conform to lawful or culturally normative ethical behavior. Now, if you look at the categorical model, you see more of a focus on criminal behavior. This is more of like the internal structure. So you don't internalize cultural ethics and morals and stuff like that. Like, what is good for you is what is good. If you follow a law, like, it doesn't really have anything to do with like respect for the law. It's just, what's practical for what you want. Like, I'll follow most laws until I want something that entails me to not follow a law or rule or whatever. You know what I mean? Empathy. Lack of concern for feelings, needs, or suffering of others. Lack of remorse after hurting or mistreating another. Again, like, we talked about that. Intimacy. This is big for me. Incapacity for mutually intimate relationships, as exploitation is a primary means of relating to others, including by deceit or coercion, use of dominance or intimidation to control others. This is what really messes me up. When it comes to getting, like, I'm so detached from other people. And this was one of the main things I told my psychiatrist about. Like, when it comes to other people's feelings and stuff, like I care for people. Like, I'm close to some people. But when it comes to, like, their internal worlds, their feelings, it doesn't register to me automatically. You feel me? And that, like, it separates you and alienates you from others and alienates them from you. Like, all my girlfriends noted this. They're like, they all said some variation of, you don't care about me, you don't have empathy, stuff like that. And okay, so that's that portion. Then there's that was A. This is part B. 6 or more of the following 7 pathological personality traits: manipulativeness, frequent use of subterfuge, influence, control others. Talked about that. Callousness, lack of concern for feelings or problems of others, deceitfulness, honesty, dishonesty, and fraudulence, misinterpretation of self. Like, so this even comes like to you just acting like a person that you're not. There's a whole period in my life where I presented myself as like a person that was really interested in social issues, and I was always going to protests and stuff like that. It's not like it's not like I was just trying to trick people as much as I just wanted to look like a good person. You know what I mean? Hostility, persistent or frequent angry feelings. We talked about that. Risk taking, engagement in dangerous, risky, potentially self-damaging activities, and impulsivity. Again, like we talked about this. So this is echoing the same shit. But yeah, in the alternative model, it doesn't go like strictly off, you know, just this, but it kind of gets more into like, okay, like what's your actual personality like instead of your behavior. You dig? So yeah, but like I said in my last video, I had been in therapy for years, because I had issues with anxiety, depression, like just dealing with like past trauma and stuff like that. And there's this misconception that people with like disorders like antisocial personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder just don't get treatment. They don't go to treatment of their own volition. Like they have to be coerced, and it's a lie. But it's that they don't go to get treatment because of their personality pathology, because that's egocentric. That means that it's not a problem for them. But depression is a problem. Like when you're depressed, you want to not be depressed. When you're anxious, like, or having panic attacks, you don't want that, you know. So yeah, a nigga been in therapy for years, but again, like after becoming stabilized and realizing what my baseline was, I like, there's still some things that were persistent. I was still impulsive. I was still angry all the time. I was still like detached from other people and doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing, and like having a hard time like even thinking about other people's feelings, stuff like that. And then my therapist, like, and you'll see this, like especially with older clinicians, they don't want to deal with personality disorders. I tried to bring it up a few times, and my therapist just wasn't. So I talked to my psychiatrist about it. I was like, yeah, I've been just having these issues. I wonder if I have a personality disorder. So she gave me what's called a test battery. So basically they give you a bunch of psychological tests for you to do. And they're all different tests that measure different things, kind of, but what they're looking for is a convergence. So consistency among them. So one assessment was called the SAPAS, which basically is like 8 questions, and this is just like a screener to see if you have a personality disorder. So it's 8 questions. If you get a 3 out of 8, you probably have a personality disorder. I got a 5. Then there was another one, the PDQ4 plus, and that's like another screener that asks true or false questions just to get a sense of like what personality disorders are highlighted at first. Then again, I was reading from the AMPD. There's a test that, or a couple versions of the same test that relate directly to that. The PID-5. So I took the PID-5 short form. That's just looking at if you have dysfunction in 5 domains: antagonism, disinhibition, detachment, negative affectivity, and psychoticism. 5 categories. I had dysfunction in all these 5 categories. They call that global impairment. And then there's the long version of the PID-5. It's like 200 something questions. And that's what like really like looks at all those 5 domains and all the facets they're in. So I talked about antagonism. So, are you manipulative, grandiose, attention seeking, stuff like that. And like those are the facets within. And the disinhibition is like impulsiveness, you get the idea. So again, when you have antagonism and disinhibition, that's antisocial. When you have disinhibition, negative affectivity, that's borderline. When you have antagonism, and I don't even remember the other, but so more than all of them, it just screamed antisocial with also traits of borderline, narcissistic. But again, these disorders kind of all cluster together, especially antisocial, borderline narcissistic. There's also a disorder called histrionic. They're all in the same clusters. They overlap a lot. But more than anything, antisocial. And then when I told her about my history, stuff I had done, she landed on antisocial. So that's how I was diagnosed. And yeah, man. There's also another aspect, and I'll get to that in a different video. Before this, I in the video prior, I had mentioned psychopathy. You know the word psychopath. When you think psychopath, you probably think Hannibal Lecter, got the Joker, stuff like that. Those are unrealistic portrayals of psychopathy. And again, psychopathy is considered a very severe form of antisocial personality. And again, you think of like Charles Manson or Ted Bundy. Those guys, even among psychopaths, are few and far in between. That's not common. That's extremely uncommon, even among individuals that have high psychopathy. But when it comes to psychopathy, psychopathic features, I'm going to save that for the next video. So this was a lot. I hope you stayed through the whole thing. If you didn't, I hope you at least got like a few minutes of this shit. But if you did stay through the whole thing, like, God bless you. Thank you for being interested enough to sit here and listen to me talk. And listen, man, I'm not a professional at this shit. I don't have no cuts in my shit. I just get on the shit and talk. I'm not that tech savvy, and to be honest, I don't have the patience for it. Again, we're talking about ASPD. I could learn how to do all the nice, editing shit. I don't want to do it right now. I just don't feel like it. So this shit's very just uncut, raw. Like, I just go and fucking talk. So yeah, thank you again, and like, comment, subscribe. I'm telling y'all, ask me whatever. I got nothing to lose. That's my shit right now. I got nothing to lose by talking about this. So I'm just gonna talk about the shit. So if you're interested and there's something you want to know, ask me. And I'll do the best of my ability to answer the shit. But on that note, until next time, peace.